Basic economics. Why economics disagree. Differences in scientific judgments. Did you know that economists often give conflicting advice to policymakers? It's a common criticism that they can't seem to reach a consensus.
Really? I didn't realize that. Why is that the case?
Well, there are a few reasons. First, economists may disagree about the validity of alternative positive theories about how the world works.
What do you mean by positive theories?
Positive theories are scientific theories that try to explain how the world actually works, as opposed to normative theories that focus on how the world should work.
I see. So economists can have different views on the underlying economic theories?
Exactly. Economics is a young science, and there's still a lot to be learned. Economists may have different hunches about the validity of alternative theories, or the size of important parameters.
That makes sense. What's the other reason economists disagree?
The other reason is that economists may have different values and, therefore, different normative views about what policy should try to accomplish.
Can you give me an example of that?
Sure, economists may disagree about whether the government should levy taxes based on a household's income or its consumption, spending. It's a normative disagreement based on their different views about the responsiveness of saving to tax incentives. Differences in values. Let's consider a scenario where two residents, Peter and Paul, both take the same amount of water from the town well. To pay for maintaining the well, the town taxes its residents. Peter has an income of $50,000 and is taxed $5,000, or 10% of his income. Paul has an income of $10,000 and is taxed $2,000, or 20% of his income.
That seems like a higher tax rate for the person with the lower income. Is that fair?
That's a great question. Whether this policy is fair or not is a matter of debate among economists. They may have different values and perspectives on what constitutes a fair tax system. Some may argue that the higher tax rate for Paul is unfair, as he has a lower income. Others may believe that the higher rate is justified to ensure everyone contributes equally to the maintenance of the well.
I see. So, even with the same facts and data, economists can have different opinions on what's fair?
Exactly. Economists' values and beliefs can influence their recommendations on public policy even when the underlying information is the same.
That's really interesting. It shows how complex these economic decisions can be.
Absolutely. Economists may disagree on issues like this because they have different views on what constitutes a fair and equitable tax system. Perception versus reality. A survey of economists in business, government, and academia found that they overwhelmingly endorse certain economic policy propositions, even though the general public may not agree.
That's interesting. What kind of propositions are we talking about?
Well, for instance, almost all economists believe that rent control adversely affects the availability and quality of housing, and is a costly way of helping the most needy members of society.
Really? I didn't know that.
Why do you think rent control policies persist if economists are so united against them?
The reason may be that economists have not yet convinced the general public that these policies are undesirable. Economists also overwhelmingly oppose tariffs and import quotas, but these barriers to free trade have persisted over the years.